Meeting to order, please. Could we have roll call, please?
Mr. Accomando? Ms. Borelli?
Present.
Ms. Ainello?
Here.
Ms. Mahoney?
Here.
Mr. Quinn?
Here.
Ms. Robinson?
Here.
Ms. Roloff?
Here.
Mr. White? Ms. Otterelli?
Here.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't know, but they'll just stand. I'm fine.
Take this for
No, I'm good.
Sure?
I'm good.
I didn't see that.
It's not going to be that long. Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all members of the Board of Education and to the Bergen Record in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975. At this time, please be advised that all cell phones and electronic devices are to be turned off. We will now have the student representative report, and that is giving it today, Sarah Greiner and Noel Santiago.
Hello, okay. In our high school student report, the high school guidance department once again hosted an alumni return day on Friday, January 4th in the auditorium. 6 alumni spoke to the senior class about their experiences beyond Saddlebrook High School, whether at a four-year college, Bergen Community College, trade school, or in the workforce. The assembly included a question and answer session for seniors and their guidance counselors. This week, the high school has been delivering course pitches to the student body in preparation for the 2019-2020 scheduling. Today, the Visual and Arts and Performing Arts and Business Department highlighted their robust elective programs. Tomorrow, the English department will have its turn to meet with students. Overall, this has been a great opportunity for students to hear more about our program of studies and take ownership in their learning. High School Student Council is collecting new socks for a sock drive to support the Bergen County shelters. This must be new, not used. Please donate to the cause. We appreciate all your support.
In our athletics student report, congratulations is in order for our competition cheerleading team. On January 4th, the high school's varsity and JV team, as well as our spirit cheerleaders, held their annual showcase for each other, performing and showing off their routines for each other to see. Both high school teams came in first place at the Hepatcon tournament on January 5th. This past Sunday, January 13th, our Saddlebrook High School competition cheer team hosted our annual competition. We would like to thank the coaches, cheerleaders, and their parents for making this a well-run, well-attended event. We would like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank the high school wrestling team coach, Wayne Rogers, and the members of our team for volunteering their time last Sunday, January 6th, to help the town recreation program run their annual Skip Bailey wrestling tournament. Our entire team spent the day helping out in a variety of ways. The recreation department and town executives expressed their gratitude towards our team. Congratulations to Christian Mendez for finishing in second place overall in the 400 meter at the NJIC Championships. And congratulations to our girls 4x4 relay team for finishing in first place in the NJIC Championship. Our team consists of Natalie Travisano, Anna Memija, Stephanie Forrester, and Nicole Kalinowski. Our boys basketball team is battling. The boys play hard and are fun to watch. Currently, they are 4-7 overall and are looking to improve the second half of the season. The boys just had a huge win versus the #1 team in our league, St. Mary's. It's the first time St. Mary's lost a game on their home floor in 6 years. Currently, our girls basketball team is 7-4 with some very competitive, tough league games coming up, as well as the BIT Invitational Tournament. We wish all our student athletes a good luck the second half of the year. Please come out and support our Falcons, and please join us on Twitter at SaddlebrookAD.
In our middle school report, the Faculty Council of the National Junior Honor Society will be interviewing candidates in the next few weeks. The introduction ceremony will begin on Monday, February 4th. For our Franklin Elementary student report, our December Family Day was a time well spent. Each multi-grade family collaborated to create a representation of their family. These posters have been hung in our stairwells and really brightened things up. Our 4th grade students also enjoyed visiting classrooms on the day before winter break to do some caroling with their newly learned multiplication songs. The indoor recess materials purchased from our PTO continue to engage our students. Indoor recess has turned into an amazing time where the students are interacting and creating together. Don't forget to attend our winter concert on the evening of January 29th. You'll be treated with songs from our chorus, band students, and ORFF instruments.
And finally, at Long Memorial, our December sing-along was a huge hit on December 21st. We have had a visit from Olaf as we kicked off the winter break. Our student council has teamed up with Jersey Cares and is currently collecting pet items for local animal shelters. We are excited for our winter concert next week on Tuesday, January 22nd. Our band, chorus, and Sabertone members are perfecting their performances as we speak.
Thank you very much. Excellent job. Thank you. We'll move now to the superintendent's report.
Okay, if I may, just add a few things that might have been missing from that report. So, Long Memorial School. So the Staples of Saddlebrook and the LMS PTO generously supported the LMS Media Center with donations to their makerspace in December. Special thanks to Mrs. Ferlanti for organizing this effort. Special thanks to the Long Memorial School PTO for all of their generosity in planning for our holiday parties in December. Many parents were present with us for our annual sing-along event with Olaf. Long is currently involved in Pennies for Patients fundraiser for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. We have a lot of winter concerts coming up, so let me just reiterate the winter concerts. Smith's winter concert's on the 22nd, and Long's winter concert is on the 23rd, and then Franklin's is on the 29th. And in between all of that, we have the Foundation's Tricky Tray, which is on the 24th, and I hope you got your tickets already because it's sold out. And I do believe there's a waiting list for anybody who may not show. And I wanted to also add that today, we celebrated a Wellness Wednesday at the middle school, and 20 students participated in dance during their lunch period as a way to distress. I wish I had known about that prior. I might have joined them for a little bit of dance. So a few things for me. I'd like to congratulate one of our leaders here in district. For those of you who maybe don't get the local paper or maybe don't know, Kim Salma was inducted into the Fair Lawn High School Hall of Fame for her varsity wrestling achievements. I didn't realize it hit the paper, I guess this past weekend, but she was inducted in October. So I had to harass her just a little bit for not letting any of us know. Maybe you knew. I certainly didn't know, but I think it's certainly worth celebrating. And now, you know, Kim and other women like Kim paved the way for a female wrestling tournament. So we do have a girls wrestling tournament. We do have a female wrestler, and Ms. Salma has been approved to help volunteer to work with the girls. I've come to discover that, you know, women have a much lower center of gravity and their game is very different. And she's helping our wrestler learn that and do well. So I'm excited for her, and I'm excited for us and for the students. Okay, so I wanted to just share a few other things. At Franklin, there have been many writing celebrations taking place as all grades moved into a different topic in writing, and many of these take place within the school with staff members and students visiting to read their stories and leave a compliment for one another. A large part of a writer's workshop is publishing and sharing and giving feedback, and that's what they're doing. Special thanks to our 6th grade team who hosted a writing celebration where the students read their stories to the parents in their group. Our primary grade students are mastering vowels and consonants, as well as learning the rules of syllabication and finding the patterns in their weekly word studies. Thank you to the thank you to the Foundation for funding our sensory walk. So the students and some staff members love completing this walk in the lower level hallway, Franklin. At Long, 4th grade students recently conducted classroom simulation where they dressed like scientists as they dissected to find nonfiction features in their texts. At Long also, kindergarten students have been presented with the opportunity for alternative homework assignments. They have been sending their teachers pictures and video of themselves engaged in fun activities as they complete their homework with parents and practice their sight words. So I got to see a little friend in a video from Long sharing his sight words, reading his sight words to his parents in using silly voices, and then the parents send the video to the teacher, and then they share it in class, and it's adorable, and the kids are really excited to share that. If you want children to do their homework, find a way to get them to use somebody's cell phone, and then they do their homework, right? One other thing that I shared with the public on January 2nd, but the public was much smaller than the group that's sitting here right now, is in reference to the park assessment. So over the break, I believe it was December 30th or December 31st, in every newspaper in New Jersey, people were celebrating the death of park and the death of the regulations associated with park, but really, what we need to know for us is the letter that I received from the Commissioner of Education, which basically says this. Please see the following graduation assessment message from the Department of Education, Mr. Lamont Repollet. I hope this email finds you well. On December 20th, the New Jersey High School graduation assessment requirements document was updated online. The document is also linked in the 2019 Portfolio Appeals Broadcast Memo, also published on December 20th. There's been one update to the high school graduation assessment requirements document. The 2018 cut scores have been applied to the class of 2019, which is not a major difference. Please note that the graduation assessment requirements for students in classes of 2018, 19, 20, and 21 and beyond remain unchanged for now. The New Jersey High School graduation assessment requirement documents continues to reflect current state requirements. As you know, amendments to the code for standards and assessment were moved to a proposal level by the New Jersey State Board of Education, and they have not been adopted and therefore have no effect on the current high school graduation assessment requirements. So I just reiterate this because sometimes the news doesn't always get it right. So they're in the process of trying to change the legislation. Currently, the current assessment situation requires students to pass Algebra 1 and English 10, and then remediate Algebra 1. And if that doesn't, and then they have to sit for every assessment possible and fail before they can take advantage of the portfolio appeals process. However, the state legislation says a grade 11 exit exam. So what we're doing is in conflict with the legislation, hence the reason for the challenge. But until we hear differently from the State Department of Education, we just keep on trucking. And when they tell us that there is a change, then we follow the change. So our students who were sitting in the Algebra 1 remediation program sat for the park assessment in the past 2 weeks, and they will continue to go through the process as we know it until we're told something else. So, unfortunately, as much as I would love to see a whole lot less testing, for right now, we're still doing what we're doing. And until I get notification from the state otherwise, we'll just keep on doing what we're doing. So, I believe that's the completion of my official report. Oh, no, there is one other thing. So, at Washington School, very excited, because I think Mr. Karate, did you get that paper back from the students? Oh, here it is. I got it. Washington School is really excited. Dr. Lauren Reisenhower applied for a program through Grow New Jersey, which is a preschool opportunity where through Grow New Jersey, if you are accepted to the program, they will provide you with the creative curriculum, which is one of the curricula that we had looked at, that we were hoping to budget for and purchase. But through Grow New Jersey, if you are accepted into their program, you actually get it for free. They provide you with professional development, and Dr. Reisenhower is required to participate in 12 hours of training but before they assign somebody to us, and this will help us support our preschool program. So we're really excited to have been accepted by Grow New Jersey. The other thing, and it is on the agenda for approval this evening that I'm really excited about. I think we're in a pretty unique situation here in district in that every one of our principals, outside of our business administrator, our vice principals, and our supervisor of athletics, we are an all-female leadership team. So early in the year, I applied to present at the Women's Leadership Conference, which is in the spring, and I proposed a presentation by the team on the tenets of servant leadership and how the servant leadership model is more rewarding and more effective than a power model. And they accepted my proposal, and they have invited us to attend. So I'm excited about that because I think it's important for the public to know the great things that go on in the district, and I'd like to shed light on them however I can. And so I've asked the board to allow us to attend that. And then Jane Ellen is not here tonight. She's not well.
No.
So I will be presenting on her behalf whenever you're ready for me to do that. I know we have it going on next.
That's your report.
Thank you. That's the
Thank
end
you
of
very
my
much.
report.
Congratulations to yourself and our administrators for getting accepted to give the presentation, and also Dr. Eisenhower for getting the grant approved for Growth in New Jersey. Those are excellent, excellent things. Now for the business administrator's report.
Thank you. I have several items tonight. First one is over the New Year's holiday, when the custodian was opening up Smith School, there was 2 inches of water in the basement. Now, he was in on Monday the 31st, and if everybody was out on New Year's Eve, was out in all that rain, plus with all the rain we've been getting, the high water table, we don't know if the pump failed at some point from Monday when he locked up to Tuesday morning, but it covered what's down in the basement is the media center, an OT, PT area, the custodial room, and a storage room. So we called a disaster recovery company that we've worked with before for previous water heating pipe breaks. They came in and they set up equipment, pick up everything off the ground, set up dehumidifiers and fans, and they dry it out. And this took several days, actually through Mondays when they broke down the equipment. We also called in, they cleaned everything, and they check everything, and a few items were damaged that will be replaced by our insurance company. We even called in our district environmental company to make sure everything was done properly, and they said it was. They were doing a good job, and we were doing everything we were required to do. It just took a while for it to dry out and everything to get back in order, but the library was open again on January 10th, so. And we're replacing a few bookshelves that were damaged and other supplies. On the Energy Savings Improvement Program, which is still continuing, many of the conservation measures have been completed. A few major ones still remain. One of them is the solar panels. We're having a pre-construction meeting on January 18th, and hopefully soon after that we'll be starting construction of the panels on several of our buildings. The building automation controls is taking longer than I would want to, and I'm really apologizing to all the staff members here and the students for some of your rooms I know have been dealing with extreme conditions, and it's just taken a long time to resolve. We're working with buildings that were built in 1924, 1930, and so forth. So we're trying to get them resolved as soon as possible. For district projects, 2 areas. One, projects that were in our budget under our capital reserve monies, not the separate question in November. So there's 2 items on tonight's agenda, F67, which is additional security cameras. We had to put security cameras in several years now, and we needed some areas that, we thought we would have a view of. We need some additional cameras, so this gets us there with several of our schools. And F68, we have several rolling security gates here at the high school. We want to install a few more so this building can be cordon off, like if you're having an event here, like a concert, that we can cordon off this area of the building and they can't get to the gym area, and then eventually get upstairs too. So we like to get them put in. That's F68. And for the November separate question that was approved, we're working on 2 of the larger items, the security vestibules. The architect is finishing up on the drawings. We'll be on to bid in the next week or so. We should have award of the project at the February board meeting. Construction won't start till the summer, though. And the final walkthroughs of our buildings were completed today for the lockdown system. I expect to have a proposal soon and hopefully make that award at the February meeting as well. And I think that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crowdy.
Can I make one comment, something I forgot?
Sure.
Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention, I did mention it Monday, but none of you were here Monday. On the policies, the first reading of the acceptable use of computer networks, computers and resources by admin, teaching, staff members, and support staff. The reason that's up for a first reading once again is because we were advised to change our policy to reflect a 3-minute shutdown on Genesis, and not realizing that when we went to implement that if you were on one page, let's say gradebook, Genesis reads that as you're not moving unless you refresh, and so it was logging people out of their work. And by the end of that day, the phone was ringing off the hook. So we called off the dogs and we eliminated that. And then we said, okay, well, let's try to see if we could implement the 3-minute policy via Google, so that if you walk away from your desktop for more than 3 minutes, that it will shut down, so that, we have additional securities in place. Well, that was a fabulous solution until you realize that if you're using, let's say, your smartboard, it thinks that you're not using your computer and then logs you out. So we said, okay, we can't stop that. So the reason why that policy is there for a first reading again is because we changed the 3 minutes to, I believe, 45 or 50 minutes, the equivalent of a teaching period, so that if you're teaching and using your educational technology that we have provided you, that it will not log you out of your computer. So, mea culpa, we tried to do something to keep everybody safe and protect student information. Backfired. We fixed it. And the only thing that we will continue to do, because I believe it is an important part of any system or network, is to require you to change your password every 90 days. So that you will receive notification from Mike Mayer about when we will set to do that. And that will go for students as well, because it's just really important to password protect everything. The other thing that you might want to consider, if you have not already done so, is to activate two-step authentication with your Gmail. You can go into settings, activate two-step authentication. You do need a phone that can receive a text message to use that feature. If anybody needs help with that feature, we can help you. But it's great, because even if I have your login and your password, but I am opening it on my computer at home, for example, it will say it doesn't recognize my computer and that I have to give the text message prompt to access it. So it is a great feature for teachers who have students around all the time while you're logging in, and you never know who's looking over your shoulder, to activate the two-step authentication. I highly recommend that. So that's why the policy is up for first revision again. First reading. Sorry.
Thank you very much. We'll now turn the meeting over to Ms. Shanley for the presentation.
Just this.
So this won't take too long. Jane Ellen and the administrative team all shared in the preparation of this document. It is just an update where we are on our district goals for this year. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't have any contagious disease. I've taken entirely too much medication to be contagious. Okay, so this is our first district goal, implement language arts instruction. I'm sorry I'm reading this to you, but I'll just read the goals. And assessment practices in alignment with New Jersey student learning standards in LAL or ELA in K to 6, as evidenced by standards-based student data collection, including formative summit assessments, as well as anecdotal notes. So these are some of the things that we have been doing so far. So we purchased units of study in writing in Teachers College Reading and Writing Project, and we purchased materials for Project Read. So what I came to understand when I first came here was that some teachers had these writing resources from TC, but not all teachers did. Maybe they had it by grade, or maybe they had them in the teacher's room, but they didn't have them in their classrooms. Now, teachers have not been thoroughly trained on teaching writing via Columbia Teachers College process. I understand that. I've had some conversations with teachers and with Ariana to make sure that the teachers knew that they weren't expected or mandated to integrate this into their classrooms right now, because we're still working on the reading training. But for some teachers who've had more training, who maybe have come from other places, who have gone to professional development on their own, and who were hungry for the resources, I wanted them to have them in their classrooms. So should you want to embark on trying a unit, that you could. Okay, so everybody has this, and as we move forward, you always start with reading first, and then you go into teaching and training of the writing. But as we move forward, you have the resources. And then we also purchase resources for Project Read in K through 2. So we've had some professional development. We are shifting, if you can see on the right, the blue boxes, and these are our Teachers College running records, so that we're all using the same assessment tool that's aligned to the program. We were using a variety of assessment tools in different places, and we wanted to make sure everybody was using the same tool. It's difficult to talk about students and evaluate students unless you're comparing them to the same measure. And then this measure then aligns to the report card. Balanced literacy professional development that supports standards-based instruction, and modifications to the Saddlebrook standards-based report card to coincide with the scope and sequence. And the elementary teachers did that difficult work. Okay, District Goal 2, embark upon 2 district pilot programs in phonics and math. So Project Read in K through 2, which is systematic, a multi-sensory phonics program, and Connected Math Project in grade 7, and I believe 1 8th grade section is launching Connected Math. What we did discover, though, however, really in looking forward and looking at our schedule, is that we don't have enough minutes at the elementary school blocked for reading and writing, so that's something we want to work on. But also, at the middle school, we don't have enough minutes to truly launch Connected Math as it should be. Connected Math needs at least 60 minutes, and reading and writing needs at least 60 minutes. So it's something that we're aware of, and if we want to raise student achievement in these areas, we really need to focus on them and commit the time and the resources and the professional development to them. So, it's a little small. So initial introduction of Project Read, we did some visitation, we purchased the materials, we took a close look at the scope and sequence that was being used in New Milford, who has successfully had Project Read in place, I believe, 5 years now. We did some grade level training, and we will have some follow-up visits so that the teachers, because they saw some of it last year in June, they saw some of it fall, and then now that they're actually sort of moving and grooving with it, they want to see it again, and they want to ask questions. So we will establish visits for them. At the middle and high school, done some professional development in Conquer Math. They've also gone out to meet with Nancy Schultz and her team at Conquer Math, which is a professional development, you're usually nodding your head, yes, could you teach math? Professional development center. I joke and say it's like Disney World for math people in Fairfield, and they go to Nancy And Nancy's she's a tough cookie, but she's the kind of person that goes, nah, you can't teach it like that. They're never going to get it when you teach it like that. You have to do it like this. And math teachers, connect with her. And so we have been sending out a lot of teachers to connect it to Nancy to learn about standards-based math instruction. Our third goal was to focus again on HIB education. And since there was new legislation and we had to update the policy, it was a good time to take a close look at what we were doing and make sure that we were doing it properly. So these are some of the things that we've done. So we did an HIB training for all staff by our board attorney, bless you. There have been HIB lessons in connection with character ed at the middle school population about the process, the role of the counselor, the difference between HIB and student conflict. We had an attorney presentation to board members, administrative team, and members of the public, and have updated the policies in HIB. One of the things that we're really looking to do, and it's going to come into the next goal, is to think about how our practices, in particular at the elementary school and at the middle school, change the language and change the conversation. So we've had some teachers and a few of our administrators go out and explore responsive classroom and how social and emotional learning can reduce incidence of HIB. So we do think that there are some pretty incredible preventative measures and changes in language that will help reduce incidence of HIB. If you run around and all you ever do is train students on what harassment, intimidation, and bullying is, they sort of think it's like that, you go to medical school and every week you think you're dying of another dreaded disease. They think everything is harassment, intimidation, and bullying instead of coming to understand, how we are supposed to treat each other and modeling more opportunities for how we are supposed to treat each other should reduce the incidence of when we don't treat each other well. So we are looking at some preventative measures moving forward, programmatic things that we can do with the students. So district goal number 4 is to integrate district-wide mindfulness and wellness practices throughout the school year in a variety of ways, wherever we can. So here are some of the things we've done. I'm sorry for how crowded that is, but for those of you who don't have your distance classes. So encouraging the staff to provide wellness breaks for students and themselves over holiday weekends. We are encouraging teachers to do that when they can. If it's a break, take a break. Don't assign anything. Don't plan on doing anything. You need a break, and kids need a break. So if you can avoid assigning quizzes, tests, and projects due on Monday, do that when you can. Like today, they had the dancing during lunchtime. Sometimes the littlest things do just help you clear your head. We've introduced yoga for classrooms at the elementary level. We've had some training with the teachers on a PD day, and you can see the little cards up top help teachers take the students through the practices. They're things you can do at your desk, sitting, standing, in the classroom. They take 5 minutes. The kids seem to really like it. I know a lot of teachers are using it like right after lunch or recess to try to get the kids refocused, or when the kids are a little scoochy at some point during the day, the teacher can always call for 5 minutes of mindful practice and yoga for classrooms and use it when they think it's appropriate. We've introduced our family nights at the elementary schools, taught the parents a little bit about this. Like I mentioned before, some of our administrators attended responsive classroom workshop and visited schools that implemented responsive classrooms successfully. We brought Corinne Catalano in from Montclair University, and she talked to the faculty a little bit about the brain. This was mostly middle and high school teachers. I asked her to focus on healing because of what the high school and middle school went through last year, and she talked a little bit about the brain and the brain's response to stressors and how sometimes we behave in ways that we wouldn't necessarily want to behave as a result of stress that we're feeling, either on the job or stress that we bring into the job or stress that's caused by the job or by the person in the classroom next to you. I don't know. But she talked a little bit about that. To be perfectly honest with you, she was okay. I have seen her before where she was more compelling.
She was okay. But I'm really excited about our presenter on Monday. The Board of Education members and I attended a county school boards conference, a regional workshop, where Alicia DiLorenzo, who's in the bottom corner, spoke to us about her work as a SAC counselor, and she works in Asbury. And one of the greatest things about her work, she works in a district that has a very high poverty rate, and students, many of whom are suffering from trauma. And she worked with their top, 20 or 25 chronic offenders and worked with them on mindful practices in the hopes of helping them heal. And she has some great research, and she's done some incredible, a lot of her research, yes, she will present to you research, but better than that, I love to know what you've done, what you've seen, and how it worked with kids in a real life setting. And she talked about that, and she's really compelling and enthusiastic and energetic. And so she is coming for the afternoon session on Monday, and she will do some of her session here in the auditorium, and then some of her session in the gymnasium. So everybody, we're asking you to come dressed comfortably, because I think she'll be making you move just a little bit. The other thing that she'll be doing from 12 to 1 while you're on lunch is meeting for a working lunch with the crisis management team here at the high school, because crisis management team is having their own PD in the afternoon, and I didn't want them to miss out on time with Alicia DiLorenzo. So she's actually planning a 1-hour session just for them, to talk to them about caring for themselves when they're caring for others in crisis. So a little specialized session she's going to have with them. And then we also have some crisis team training sessions going on throughout the year. Okay, so those are our 4 district goals. That's where we are so far. I think a lot of these things, sometimes they're happening in the background and you really don't know that they're going on, or maybe it's not going on in your classroom because something else is going on in your classroom. But I think we've made some tremendous progress on these goals in particular, amongst other things, and I think we should be proud of where we are right now, and I thank all of you for having the courage, the strength, and the fortitude to execute. Because without all of you, this PowerPoint doesn't happen. So my appreciation to you for that. So thank you. And I thank Jane Ellen. I'm sorry she couldn't be here. She's not feeling well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation. One thing I would like to just...
Thank you.
One thing I would just like to comment on is I was one of those board members that saw Alicia DiLorenzo, and she really is fabulous, and we're very excited that our superintendent could get her here to work with the staff and students, because she's a very powerful person. Moving right along, I would like a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda and policy items only. In favor? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, the meeting is now open to the public for a comment. Residents are requested to state their names, addresses, and subject matter. In the event it appears the public comment portion of the meeting may exceed 45 minutes, the presiding officer may limit each statement made by a participant to 5 minutes duration. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered, and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriately. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comment made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments.
Good evening, everyone. Matthew Martinez, Long Memorial School, 6th grade teacher. Happy New Year. I'd like to extend congratulations to the new board trustees and thank those returning for their service and commitment to our community and district. As a member of the SBA negotiations team, I wanted to speak tonight in order to clarify some of the information presented at last month's Board of Education meeting. Among the things that were stated is that our first meeting was March 21st, 2018. However, our first meeting was actually March 1st, 2018. The meeting that was supposed to have occurred on March 21st, 2018 was canceled due to a school closure. Our second meeting took place on March 28th, 2018. At this point, a proposal had still not been provided by the board's team. I'd like to be very clear on this next part. The association's team did not declare impasse at this time as we still had not received a proposal. April 16th was our third meeting, the first meeting at which a proposal was produced by the board. For the record, the association's proposal was ready for the first meeting, but normally proposals are simultaneously exchanged. Therefore, the association waited for the board's proposal. At this meeting, it was clear that the board was not willing to negotiate on our one major point of concern. We informed the board's negotiating team that, without the ability to negotiate this significant issue, impasse would be the next and only logical step. Even though we felt that impasse would have to be the decision, as progress was not being made, the association informed the board that we would still be willing to meet if they so desired. It was at this time the association reached out to our Bergen County Uniserv rep to contact the board's lawyer, since they have previously worked together in hopes of continuing to meet and work towards a resolution. There were multiple dates exchanged from April to September. While the SBEA does indeed have more members on the team than the board, we were always willing to find a way to meet. Our final meeting was September 18th, 2018. We arrived at the scheduled time of 5:30. At 6:30, when the board's team came in, they informed us that, due to their new proposal, they would not be willing to negotiate our primary issue. We caucused separately, and at 7, our Uniserv rep went to inform the BOE that we would move forward with the impasse. The purpose of these statements and this rebuttal is an assertion of facts, a clarification of the narrative of events, and not simply a petty series of corrections of dates and minor details. The timeline supplied at the last meeting is not only inaccurate but misleading. It created the impression that the association is not taking this seriously or is not committed to a successful and fair conclusion to this process. As always, facts matter, and in this technical and sensitive case, accuracy and precision are vital in order for a successful collective bargaining agreement to be reached. All of what I've said tonight can be verified with documentation. The public, the superintendent, the SBEA members, and all of the Saddlebrook Board of Education trustees have a right to know that their teachers and education professionals are dedicated now and always to the success and well-being of the students of this district. We are in fact bringing the same diligence, passion, and seriousness that we, day in and day out, take into our classrooms and into the pursuit of our students' growth and achievement. The association remains committed to this process and the fair settlement of a new collective bargaining agreement. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for that. Anybody else wish to speak to any agenda items or policy? Seeing no one, I'd like to motion to close the meeting to the public. All in favor? Any opposed? We'll put action items, right? Okay, at board action items, we are going to go through B9 through B20. B9 is just a revision to findings and recommendations that have already been discussed. Any open to motion to open for discussion? Any discussion?
Could I say something?
I just wanted to, on B20, thank Tim White for his service to the board. He'll be missed.
Thank you. I actually missed that last line.
That's okay.
We just found out that he has resigned from the board. He's been an excellent member, and he will definitely be missed. Do roll call? Yes. Do you want to do that again? Sylvia and Kelly.
Ms. Borelli?
Yes.
Ms. Ainello?
Yes, except for I'm going to abstain from B17.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. Roloff?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Zattarelli?
Yes.
Should Ms. Roloff abstain from B17?
Probably. Do you want to see if Ms. Roloff wants to abstain from B17?
The minutes. Ms. Roloff, do you want to change your vote with the December minutes since you weren't here? You could abstain from them
Abstain.
on B17.
Thank you. As we have not had any committees meet yet, I will just go through the rest of the agenda. Education curriculum, E20, 1 through 7, and E21 through E24. At the recommendation of superintendent, I would like to make a motion to approve those items.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Gina? Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Ms. Borelli?
Yes.
Ms. Ainello?
Yes to all, but I'm going to abstain from E21, field trip number 500.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. Roloff?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Zattarelli?
Finance and Facilities and Budget. At the recommendation of the superintendent, I would like to make a motion to approve the following items, F61 through F72. We have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Borelli?
Yes.
Ms. Ainello?
Yes, but I'm going to abstain from F61. Check numbers 54989, 54941, and F64. I will abstain from I'm sorry, I apologize. Hold on one second. Okay, item number 6, for professional development, number 14, and number 28.
Okay. Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. Roloff?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Just want to make sure.
Ms. Zattarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes. At the recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to make a motion to approve the following items. First reading of the following policies, P1321, P3321, P4321, and the second reading of the following policies and regulations as listed on the agenda.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Borelli?
Yes.
Ms. Ainello?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. Roloff?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Zattarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes. And under personnel, at the recommendation of the superintendent, I make a motion to approve the following items, P29 through P131.
Second.
Any discussion?
Through the chair, on P131, when we discussed this Monday night, either I missed it or I was under the impression it was 2 secretaries and 1 nurse we were approving. Is there a third one that was added?
Yes, 2 secretaries, 1 bilingual, and then 1 nurse.
Okay, but on the agenda, it says 3 secretaries.
But
That's
there's
3 total.
2 regular secretaries, 1 bilingual secretary.
Yes,
Okay,
3
so the
total.
1 was added, that's my question, because Monday night, it was only 2.
In my note, my intent was to communicate with you 4 people, so if I didn't communicate that with you properly, I apologize. It's 4 people.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Borelli?
Yes.
Ms. Ianello?
Yes.
Ms. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. Roloff?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Ms. Zattarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes. Any correspondence?
Through the chair, I did say Monday night, and no one was here, but I will reiterate tonight. I'd like to thank all the teachers that took the time out to send all of us board members those lovely wishes for the new year, and we'd like to extend our wishes to you as well for the new year. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, and thank you, Ms. Zattarelli. Any other correspondence? Any old business? New business? All right, make a motion to open the meeting to the public for comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have to reread the statement.
We have anybody?
Do we have anybody that wishes to speak at this time? Okay, I get to read it again.
No, same statement.
Same
Oh,
statement.
so I don't have to read it?
No.
again?
No.
Okay.
No, same statement applies.
It's called memory, Chris.
Christopher Winnie, 48 Lest Wing Avenue. Couple of questions I have. The first one is there was an event here over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So one of the questions I have, and I brought this up several times in the past, what are we doing to enforce the no smoking policy outside the school? I had family members that attended the event. They walk through the parking lot. They walk in front of the Board of Ed office. They walk in the doors. You've got residents and visitors alike smoking cigarettes right there, throwing cigarette butts on the ground. This has always been a pet peeve of mine. I mean, 2006, we have the New Jersey Smoke-Free Air Act. No smoking is allowed on public and private school property, grades K through 12. And that is law NJSA 26-3-58. That imposes an immediate fine of $250 to $1,000. I'd just like to know who's in charge of making sure that that's being enforced. Is that a custodian? Are we supposed to have a police officer on the grounds? How does that work? Because I've been in other towns for events, and Ramsey is a perfect example. I've seen cops hand out $250 tickets on softball fields. So my question, I guess, is how are we going to enforce that? And are we going to take care of that? Another issue that I wanted to ask about was when I was on the board, obviously, we had, and I don't know if you guys have done this yet, has there been any committees formed for a liaison for the town? Myself, I was one of those members, and the reason I ask is I'm actively involved, as most of you know, with the food pantry and the community partnership program. In the past, we've had Mr. Lawler used to attend all of the meetings that we had monthly. We do have a meeting coming up at the senior center. It's on the town website on Monday night at 6 o'clock. And my question is, A, is any of the administrators going to be attending or planning on it? And then B, are there any representatives from the board that are going to be acting as a liaison to attend any of those meetings?
So, yes, we have established committees. Yes, we do have representatives to serve as a liaison. And yes, Mrs. Violetti will be at the meeting next month, is it next Monday?
Monday.
Monday, yes.
Mrs. Violetti will be
Mrs.
there.
Violetti.
Okay. And what about with regard to the smoking on the school property?
I'm going to follow up and find out who we have on premises at the time when we plan these events and bring the issue to light. This is the first time I'm hearing of it, so I will definitely follow up and see who do we have here? Do we have police here? I need to find out more information, but
Right.
obviously, we should not have smoking on school premises, so I will follow up with that.
Okay,
But this-
thank you.
This is news to me, and it's unfortunate news.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Regina French, Washington School, speaking on behalf of the SBA, our philanthropic report. We're having the SBA is sponsoring a community-wide Super Bowl food drive on Saturday, January 19th from 10 to 12. All donated items will be given to the food pantry at the First Reformed Church of Saddlebrook. Another item in lieu of gifts, recent retirees Nancy Linder and Sherry Hines requested donations be made to the Saddlebrook Food Pantry. SBA members donated 18 ShopRite gift cards to honor their years of service to our schools. SBA members donated and delivered holiday gifts and care packages to members of the Saddlebrook community who were struggling during the holiday season. And lastly, the proceeds of $108 from the Dress Down Day on December 15th were donated to Project Graduation for the for the Saddlebrook High School class of 2019. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's, as always, you guys are doing a lot of good for both the school community and our community at large, and we thank you very much for that. Anyone else? Seeing no others, I'd like a motion to close to the public. All in favor? Any opposed? We don't have to close, correct? I'd like a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Before we adjourn, I thought earlier Danielle had said this was on the agenda, but I didn't see it, so I didn't say anything. But I guess under old business, are we going to attempt to do anything about that training that I got stuck in again tonight?
We will at our first Township Liaison Committee meeting. Not to be confused with the Community Pride Partnership.
Also, under new business, I apologize, I missed this one. We need to discuss the posting of the vacancy for a board member. When and how long we want to do that before going into the interviews. Mr. Crotty, do you have past practice information to share?
Yes, we have posted the vacancy in the newspaper and through our school buildings or wherever else the meeting notices get posted. I think for the average, it's been posted for about 2 weeks, which will bring us roughly to the end of January, February 1st. We can use those dates and then set up a meeting date the week of February 4th, if you want, to interview candidates. And if it works out, you could have somebody appointed, ready for the February 11th and 13th board meetings. Committee meetings, Danielle, I think we had Monday or Tuesday, right? We were doing
Yes.
February 4th or 5th?
We were thinking...
Oh, no, January.
Yeah,
Week of January, what was it, 29th?
yes. Tuesday, January 29th. We're thinking of having policy at 5 and budget at 6:30. So I'm proposing that date and those times if you are available. Marty, you said you might be able to on a Tuesday if you knew? Okay.
Policy at 5.
Policy at 5 and budget at 6:30. We do have a lot of mandated policies to go through in addition to some of the other things that have come up. So we could send out an invite through Google, and you could let us know?
Sure.
Okay.
Does any board members have any conflicts for meeting on Monday, February 4th for the interviews?
It's Wednesday, I think the 6th, yeah.
Or Wednesday the 6th?
No, Wednesday the 6th is the negotiations.
Oh, okay. So Monday, the 4th of February. Is everybody available for interviews? Monday, February 4th. 6 o'clock if that works for everybody. If not, we can go start a little later.
What's your, it depends how many candidates we have. We may need to start earlier. What's the earliest time people could make it to the board office?
Mondays, I think we're going to 5:30.
Okay.
don't know.
5:30 at this
5:30?
end. Anybody?
We can't make
Can
it
everybody make
5:30?
5:30?
Okay.
All right, just pencil it in now for 5:30 on the 4th, and then I'll update you as it goes along.
Any other new or old business? Okay, we will go back to, like the motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you all. Thank you all very much for coming. It's wonderful to see so many people here and involved. Please return next month.